Welcome to East Tennessee Pinball. Today I'm going to try to repair all the boards on this Funhouse. So if y'all been watching my channel for a while, y'all saw, I don't know, close to about a month or so ago, I clear coated this Funhouse play field that I'm going to put in this game. So this game is going into, I'm finally getting around to working on this thing. So my goal today was pull all these boards out and go through them. And so before I pull them out, I want to make sure, in particular, the lamps and switches, and maybe check out the solenoids also. Make sure all those things are working. If they're not, I can look at those particular parts of the boards when I get them out and try to repair them and get them working. So I've got this thing in the lamp test, and there are a number of bulbs that are not working. I'm hoping it's just bad bulbs, but you know, like that one's not working. I think that's a flasher, I'm not sure. That's probably might have a light also. That one's not working. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to map them out on here, and then I'm going to transfer those points. So this has got a number, and then you find that number on the lamp matrix. And if you start drawing a line, well, that tells you probably you've got a lamp matrix problem. One of the rows or the columns is out. So that's what I'm going to do here real quick. So here's what I got. Those little green dots are the ones that are not working. I believe that was a GI because it's not numbered. So I'm going to transfer those points over to here and see what I get. So here's what I got. I don't have any column or row that's out, so I think my lamp matrix is working, probably just some bad bulbs. So next I'll maybe go see if all the flashers are working. I don't know exactly where all the flashers are at, but I think I know where most of them are, and I'm going to see if I can see them all running. So I'm just checking my flashers. Start on the first one. It's got 3 blue ones there, and this one here is supposed to be working. Clearly the circuit's working, probably just a bad bulb. So I'm going to go through and check and see if I've got all the circuits working here real quick off camera. So next I just went through the GI lights. I went through each little segment. So there's like 5 different groups of them, and there's at least a few bulbs on every one of them. So all those drivers, everything are working. A lot of bulbs out, but that's okay. Not a board issue anyway. Those headers may look a little rough, but I can check those out when I get the boards out. So the last thing I want to check, and the flashers are all good except for a couple of bulbs over here. Not a problem. I'm going to do the playfield swap, so I'm going to have to go through all this stuff again afterwards. But before I take these boards out, I want to make sure everything's working. Last thing I want to do is go to the switch test, and to the extent possible, I'm going to go through and hit every one of these switches and see if they're all working. If they're not, I'm going to do kind of a similar thing here. I'm going to mark which switches are not working and transfer them over to the switch matrix table and see if I've got a row or column of switches at. So when I pull the MPU out of there, I can fix the MPU switch matrix if necessary. But I just want to pull these boards once and not twice. So I want to just go through a little bit of diagnosis on this game before I pull this board. So I'm in the switch test now. I'm just hitting every switch I can find. On these, you have to not only see if they're popped, but see if they're, well, I guess on this one game, if you hit it, if they pop, you've hit the switch. On some games, that's not the case. I'm going to try to hit all of them. It's probably not necessary to hit every single one, just because if I miss one, if I got every single one of them but one, then for sure the switch matrix is not bad. I'd have to miss a whole column or a whole row, which is kind of unlikely. I'm just going to hit as many of them as I can get to reasonably easy and call it good. There's those optical ones there I want to kind of pay special attention to. I don't think there's any other optical ones. There might be some in the subway, maybe in the trough. I don't know if the troughs are out whole. Just kicking these over manually to get them loaded. Yeah, I think these are manual switches in the trough, as I believe. Let me pick the playfield up and see what other switches I can find underneath. Yeah, there's a few more switches you can reach from underneath here. Yeah, that one's going. I think I'm good. Haven't found any. By the way, you think that's a dirty subway? I got a new plastic. By the way, all my plastic pieces and all my stuff I've ordered for it all piled up on the Cyclone. So I think all my switch matrix is good on this thing. So let me go through the solenoid test. I haven't done that, but I have played this game. It plays kind of sluggish. I don't think anything's not working on it, but I want to just go through that real quick. I'm running through the solenoid test. Everything's running. Rudy may or may not have some problems here. I don't know. I haven't done a Rudy test. Maybe I'll do that. But Rudy's going to be, it's all coming apart. So I don't know. He's definitely, I got a new jaw for him. I think his gears are good. So Rudy looks like he's working. Mouth's open. He just needs a little touch up on the face. But I got a whole new jaw, painted lip. He's going to look a lot better. Back of his skull is, oh, it's not even, yeah, it's not attached very well. So we'll take care of that. We'll get your cranium put on there. But for now, I'm going to start pulling these boards one at a time and going through them. Definitely, well, yeah. Gonna get rid of these batteries. I'm gonna put an NVRAM in there at a minimum. And yeah, this one here has probably got some bad solder joints, I would guess. We'll see when we get them out of there. Okay, I got this board out. Everything looks good on it. I'm going to take this battery holder out, and I'm going to swap this for a NVRAM. Got the chip right here. And that is a, if I can get it to focus, FM 1608-120. This is one of the few things that I bought on eBay. I got a whole bunch of them, and they're all good because I've been using them. And so I'm happy with that. Kind of risky when you buy them on eBay, but I took a risk because they were so much cheaper than like Marco's. So anyway, I'm gonna get to going. And just like that, the future death of this board is gone. So now I'm going to desolder this chip. This will take a little bit more care, so I'll get after it. Now I'm just going to pry on every one of these, make sure they're free. Sometimes they'll just snap off if they're just barely stuck. That one is kind of stuck. There, it clicked off. That one is the same. And that last one is still stuck. So that one there, it may, I'm just going to resolder it and desolder it one more time real quick. Hopefully it's free now. Yeah, now it is. So I think I've got them all. Alright, so I'm going to put in a socket there next. Alright, I got the board in there. Let's see if it boots. Factory settings restored. That's good. That's what it should do. Since I put in that NVRAM, it's lost its sense. Just hit the reset button. Yeah, it's gonna have date and time anyway. Alright, so that seems to have worked all right. What do I want to do next? Maybe I'll do the soundboard next. Yeah, I think I will. And I may go ahead and recap this thing. I think I will. So look at this soundboard on the bench. It's like, looks like it's got some dirt dauber residue. Some of the solder joints are kind of cold. See if I can find some of them. Yeah, that one looks a little cold. Anyway, I'm gonna get all the large pins, large headers, I should say. I'm gonna reflow all those. I'm gonna recap the whole thing, including these big filter caps there. Those probably won't change anything, but just preventive maintenance. These little ones can potentially make the thing sound better, so I'm gonna swap all of them out. I think they're the ones that I could see were all 47 microfarads. I don't know if they all are, but anyway, I'll check them when I pull them out. That's 100. I'm glad I pulled that one first. All right, so I got all the little ones. There was a whole bunch of 47s. There was a 100 and there was a 22 microfarad. And so now I'm going to do these two. They are 4735 volts. So they should come out of there pretty easy. Probably need to heat my iron up a little bit. It's really, so I'm just going to, I just pulled that down just a little bit. They're up there flush, so I can't get it very much. I'm going to get this one. Now this one, I'll be able to get it down a little bit further. Let that harden up, and I'm just going to go back and forth. So it's been about a week. I've been waiting on these two caps here. They're 4700 by 35 volts. Got those in, I put them in there. So I'm gonna throw this back in the game. But before I do, I had a service call on a fishtails, and this is the board for the fishtails, same board. The board, this is a soundboard, obviously. Maybe it's not obvious, but it's a soundboard. The sound was working. It was just kind of scratchy and wasn't sounding right. So, you know, normally you first thought would be caps, and I read the PinWiki guide for this board, and sure enough, you know, there's several caps in particular, including a couple of little ceramic caps, which you normally wouldn't think about going bad in. And so anyway, I recapped the board over the guy's house. I didn't have these two. Obviously, I didn't fix it because I brought it back home. So I'm going to go ahead and swap these out. Then I've got them. But the next logical culprit is this op amp here. I didn't have those, and those came in the same box from DigiKey I got here. So I'm going to swap out that op amp, and I'm actually going to plug it into my Funhouse because I plugged, just to confirm that it wasn't anything on his game. I did plug this board into my Funhouse, and it is all scratchy still, even after recapping it. So I'm just right now I'm going to swap out this op amp, and hopefully that'll fix the problem. Long size. That's a weird size. That is not a metric, or not a that is a metric, I believe. Not a quarter anyway. It's slightly less than a quarter, but this 1/4 inch driver is working okay, so just going to keep using it. I'm almost tempted to get this heat sink out just so I can grab this thing a little bit better. Maybe I don't need to. Maybe not. And the last one's going to be the hardest because it's got that big trace. Oh, I think geez, it looks like it's free. It's not quite free. All the pins are wiggly. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Got that out. This takes an LM1875. That's the old one. This is the new one. And that thing was working, kind of. I should probably put a little heatsink grease. I think I'll try to feed this in there first. Well, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. Looking for my heatsink grease. Yeah, I found it here. Just need really just to color it. There's a little bit on there already, but it's all, well, it's all dried up. It's old and crusty. Yeah, I probably should have put this on first. I just didn't want to get it all over my fingers. I'm still going to end up doing that. A little bit smeared down around there. I'll Put a little bit more on the back of it. Probably had a better tool. I'd make it a little easier. That's pretty decent. And I am going to try to get this thing screwed in before I solder it, because once you solder it, then you can't align it. And I'm off the screen again. I saw a little heat sink grease squirt out of there, so I think I got just enough. I'll throw in these two capacitors. Trim this up, and now we're going to go throw both these boards in there. So this is my Funhouse, so that's fishtails, and this is my Funhouse. So when I put the fishtails in there, it may sound a little funny, it may sound a little like fishtails, I don't know, it's going to be a little crazy. Throw them both in there, and hopefully they both work. So I get the fishtails board, and here the line, just swap the op amp on. Let's see what that does. And it was kind of working, it was just scratchy. Okay, well, let's go into the test, and oh, it's really loud. Yeah, it's still scratchy, so something else is not quite right. So that did not fix the problem. I don't know if you can hear that. Just all scratchy. Recapped it, new op amp. Don't know what it is. So, I'm gonna look at the PinWiki guide again, and we'll go from there. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and throw in this other one that I just finished recapping and make sure it's working, and I'm gonna move on to the solenoid driver board. So here's the board, just booted up, heard the bongs. Go into the test menu here and see what it sounds like. Whoops, I missed it. Whoops. If I can navigate a little bit better here. There we go. Sounds good. I think that one's good. So I'm gonna call that one good, and I'm just gonna pull out this board and go through it. So I was home last night, and I was just about to give up on this board, thinking about shipping it off to some, like a real expert on these things. And I was reading the PinWiki page on this, and they've got, I mean, this is exactly what it, popping, scratching sound, and a hot 1875. I have all those symptoms, so, you know, specifically check out those. And if those, check out these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those 5 caps. And I swapped all those. In fact, I swapped all of the caps, including these. Some of these are little small caps. And then if that doesn't work, swap out the LM1875, the op amp. I've done all that. And I was looking, I was like, that's a 0.22. I pulled that out there and I just checked it here. I put in a 22 microfarad on C23. So that could be the problem. So I'm going to replace this with the proper 0.22 microfarad capacitor, and hopefully that will fix my problem. We'll get this thing running. All right, so I got my fishtail soundboard, throwing in this Funhouse to test it out. I got that new cap in there. I ended up putting a film capacitor because that's the only 0.22 microfarad I had. We got our bong. Get it a test. Whoops. Getting in the sound here if we can. Oh, I think it's working. Yeah, the scratchy's gone. So my bad, I put the wrong cap in there. Dang it. Wasted a lot of time. Well, at least it's going now. Cool. Well, so now I'll get back to this Funhouse, and I'm gonna pull this board out of here and just go through it, check out the. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny seeing this Funhouse talk fishtails, but that's what it's doing. So I'm gonna go through this, check the headers, just kind of give it a once over. I believe, I mean, like I've already shown you, I've gone through all the tests, and I think everything's working on it. So, but I want to pull the board and take a look for it before I get this game back to the guy. So all these pins look pretty decent. None of them are burnt. This will be the area where you really get the really burnt ones where the GI lights plug in. But they all look good. I've already flipped it over and hold on a second. Went ahead and reflowed the solder on all the big header pins, the 0.156, and it's wet now from just washing it down with a little alcohol. So I'm gonna let this dry and throw it back in the game, and we'll be done with the boards. So I got the solenoid driver back in the game. I've got the proper soundboard back in the game. I've gone through all the tests again, just kind of briefly. Everything's working. So the next, I'm gonna end this video here. The next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna yank this whole playfield out of here. I'm gonna swap all the parts and throw in all these new parts that are still wrapped up here. I'm gonna put all that on the new playfield. So I'm gonna do a playfield swap. I'm gonna do 2 rotisseries and just dig into it. I'm gonna just probably start on that here in the next day or two. So thanks for watching. If you like the videos, click like and subscribe. Adios.